This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your host, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
All right, Brandon. So I was on Twitter the other night. I saw this tweet. I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of kept scrolling. And then the next day I got on, and it had blown up everywhere. So where are you at in 100 men versus a gorilla?
What?
Yeah. You haven't seen this?
No.
Yeah, it's the question. Would you take 100 men or one gorilla? Who do you have in this fight?
Is the gorilla the Texas Stars?
No, it's just a gorilla, like Harambe.
Oh, rest in peace. That's so sad now. That's
So
a sad way to start the show.
Well, it was better than what we had.
That's true. I couldn't take either. I am so out of shape, bro. Come on.
No. You got 100 men or the gorilla. Who's going to win in the fight?
Oh, between the two?
Yeah.
I misunderstood that question entirely.
I mean,
I don't have a good answer for this. Not one that can be recorded, at least.
It's the gorilla, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'll start getting into the, how big are the men? How old? Is it children?
You could create 100 men of, the biggest, fiercest men and roster, and they even AI'd it, and there's all these simulations. You'll see it on Twitter now that I've talked about it.
Yeah, that's usually how everything technology-wise works here. Well, welcome back to the Hockeytown West podcast, a playoff edition. That's right. We are back to these playoff immediate recordings after games, and we're going to try to do this through the whole playoffs here. We did it last season, and it was a freaking grind on all of us. So especially with this year, with us doing media with the Griffins, doing post-game interviews, you leave the rink a lot later than we left the rink last year. So we'll see if we can keep this up. It's going to be mostly unedited unless we say something that we really can't put out there or, swear too much or whatever. There's one episode we'll reference to last year's playoffs that should have probably been edited more, but it wasn't. You can go back and find that in there. It was definitely during the Rockford series. But yeah, this will be fun. It was a fun thing that we did last year. Again, it's a lot of work, but it's always good to get the initial reactions out right away. And of course, we'll still do regular episodes here and there, but our schedule is going to be very jumbled with both teams that we cover being the Griffins and the Toledo Walleye, both of them being in the playoffs and hopefully both making deep runs here. Obviously, that sounds funny to say after what we just witnessed with the Griffins tonight in Game 1 versus the Texas Stars. But at the same time, we'll have fun with these. Again, some unhinged thoughts, real-time reaction to what we witnessed, and we'll dive right into it here. I mean, a 4-0 loss to start the series off against Texas, one being at home. Two, you had a week off before this game. You have 6 days off between this game and Game 2. If you're wondering why and what our thoughts were to that, check out the most recent episode. We won't go into our AHL rant and what they're doing. Maybe we'll save that for the off season, or I'm sure it'll make it into a Patreon exclusive at some point, which if you're not following us yet on Patreon, head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West podcast. Check out the tiers we offer there. You get unedited episodes, bonus episodes, and other giveaways and fun stuff that we'll do over there. So let's dive into this game overall, right? Obviously, like we said, 4-0 loss, not the way you want to start a series. And we knew going into the series that Texas was going to be a tough opponent, and they showed that tonight. Just want to get your initial thoughts before we kind of dive in play by play here to this game.
It's weird to say this game was closer than what it looked like. We literally just played Texas on the 12th, and the score was 4-1. Texas really dominated that game. I mean, they outshot us 38-18. This game, the shots were right there, dead even, I believe. Just checking it real quick.
Yeah, it was. The Griffins were outshot by Texas 30-29, so it was pretty darn close.
Yeah, it didn't feel like this game really got away. It was just a very interesting game now that we sit here, being out of post game, sitting here kind of looking at everything again, and after watching what we watched.
Yeah, it's always like if this was initial reaction, like right after
God.
the game, no post game, our words would probably not be as minced as they are right now. Because when you get the coach's perspective and you hear from some of the guys, you kind of just really think, okay, you kind of start to think the game clear and not from a fan perspective, which is so hard for us as a show. You know, this was started as fans, and now we do the media side of it a little bit too. So you do have to be careful sometimes what you say. And again, we have to also face these guys in the locker room after a game. And yes, we know people from the team listen. So I'm not going to say something about a player and have to stare them in the face afterwards if I don't truly mean it. Back then, it was more of I'm just going to say what I want as a fan. So I do think through more what I'm going to say before I say it, but you're right. The game was closer than it looks by the score, right? At the same time, it does feel like Grand Rapids came out with nowhere near the compete level that was needed in this game. They definitely looked rusty, maybe beyond rusty. And, you know, we've talked about coach saying, you know, rest can be used as a weapon or it can also hurt you. And it looked like it hurt them. But as he said in post game, and he wasn't even going to address that period, you know, both teams dealt with that lengthy off time period. And they're going to both deal with it for this round too. Clearly not letting it be an excuse. And I thought it was really good of Coach Watson to shut that down immediately in post game, because everyone could talk about what this scheduling period is. But at the end of the day, their job is to go out there and get ready to play hockey. And that can never be used as an excuse because both teams are going through the same thing.
I think this too is like good for them because they just got shellacked a little bit, right? A 4-0 loss. You kind of need the 6 days to kind of like, all right, what went wrong? Let's fix it. Let's, you know,
I think the headline could be it's a gut check to the team, right? It's a big gut check. And it's one that you hope as a fan they're not going to sit there and dwell on for very long. You hope it fires them up, gets them a little angry, because you're kind of looking for more physical play tonight. And we didn't really see a ton of it. You know, the old fill them up or fill them in type of saying, right? From Shoresy there, you kind of hope to see more physicality come from the Griffins if they're going to go down like this, at least go down swinging. But at the same time, you also kind of peel that back and go, is that really the way you want to end this game? Like, it's kind of just embarrassing to go out there in the last 5 minutes of the period and cause chaos instead of just, you know, take the L and go back to the drawing board and come back with a better game plan.
I mean, I feel like the beginning of the season, they were more physical. They were kind of they were dominating teams. That's when they were winning so well. Tonight, I thought they did play physical. I thought there was a lot of board battles. I thought there was a lot of after whistle scrums. There was a lot of, I wouldn't say big hits, but there were some hits and some layouts.
Some good hits.
And so nothing like full force like we saw in the NHL over this weekend. But I thought they played more physical. That first period seemed like they played very fast style, where I'm like, that's not what you need to do with Texas. It was the opposite of what we said, is to slow them down, grind them down.
Yeah, that's exactly what we had said the game plan should be going into it. It was kind of like they tried to match Texas instead of play against them, right? And, you know, when you look at the physical play too, the one thing I'll call out here, and I hope you noticed it during the game, it seemed like every time Texas got a hold of a Griffins player during play, whether it was after a hit or a little scrum, their goal was to headlock and get that helmet off so the guy has to skate off. Like, that happened throughout the night. Luckily, it didn't impact the Griffins, they didn't get it off, but it kind of goes back to the question of that ruling of once the guy's helmet comes off, they got to pick it up, put it back on, or skate off the ice. And it just seemed like that was, I want to say, a dirty play, but at the same time, I didn't like that seemed to be the goal every time you got a hold of someone, is to rip the helmet off. It really looked like they were just trying to take advantage of that rule, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on, a lot of behind the play dirtiness. I don't want to say dirtiness, but just like holding the guy's stick a little bit longer, like holding him back a little bit longer than what he needed to be. And
what you expect in the playoffs.
Yeah, the rest were just kind of letting it go, to be honest.
Which I prefer in the playoffs, you know, let the play out, settle it out. They're still police the game to where it's not going to get out of hand, but at the same time, let the boys play. It's a higher intensity game in the playoffs, and they did do that tonight, so I'll credit the referees. I won't credit the linesmen much tonight with how long it took them to drop the puck constantly, but we asked Coach Watson about that in postgame, and you have to go to our interview for that to get his response there, because I thought it was pretty good, honestly. On his end there, it was pretty funny.
That was funny.
But let's talk the storyline of the game that everyone's going to grab onto when you look at this, and it's Sebastian Cossa getting pulled after that fourth Texas goal. I think that's going to be a lot of thing that catches Red Wings fans' eyes. let's just be upfront with it. Cossa was not at his best tonight. I would say the first Texas goal and the fourth Texas goal were definitely on him. I wouldn't say the two in between he had much he could do about, especially one of them being a power play goal. But it definitely was not his best performance. But this isn't one where you're going to sit there and be like, I don't think Cossa should start game 2. I think Kossa's a bust. You can wash all that out of your mind now. It just wasn't his night, but also the team in front of him did not really help him out too much in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing we've been focusing on the last, 3-4 months has just been turnovers. And those turnovers have just went right against us. The first goal I wasn't able to see live because I was clipping a play from earlier. And I looked up and I'm like, what's going on? Why are they dropping the puck at the center ice? Rewatching it now, it looks like it's just he's deflected. It got deflected in. There's nothing he could do. There's a lot of bodies in front of him. The fourth one, I thought the same thing. The first and fourth goal were pretty similar in my eyes, of just a lot of traffic in front of him, a lot of movement, a lot of motion, and go from there.
Yeah, I'm going to pop the first goal on screen here for the YouTube viewers to see, just to kind of understand what we're talking about with this. But I think the part that killed the Griffins the most in this is that it was just early in the game too. And it's just one of those goals with a ton of traffic out in front of the net, which, credit Texas. They did a great job of clogging up the slot there in front of the Griffins goalies tonight. And they were just able to take advantage of it. What I wanted to kind of see more was Griffins defensemen clearing that space instead of leaving it a clogged mess. I think that's something the coaches will go back to the drawing board this week on and kind of, hopefully correct that as it goes forward here. But it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate, right? It's not the way you wanted to start the series off. And it's unfortunate for a young goaltender like Sebastian Cossa to start the series off like that. But at the same time, we've watched this kid kind of battle and bounce back how many times, and his bounce back is always a really, really good performance.
So do you think they go back to it for game 2? Because game 2 is a big game now.
Game 2 is a huge game now, and let's be completely honest. Jack Campbell came in after that fourth goal there in the second period and was pretty much outstanding in the game. He ended up facing only 11 shots, but stopped all 11 of them. Cossa faced 19 shots, saved 15 of them. And you look at Jack's last couple performances in net too, after, being out of the net for so long with whatever was going on and them calling up Jan Bednar from Toledo for some games too. You look at those couple performances, especially his performance in Iowa, where, let's be real, he's the reason that we didn't have to play the play-in round. Yeah. He was incredible in that game. It's a tough decision that coach is going to have to make, and I don't envy him for that. Do I go back to Cossa for game 2? I don't know. I'd have to look more at these goals and kind of analyze them a little closer to say, do you go back or do you go with Jack? Jack's played really well against Texas too. He kind of seems to have their number a little bit, and that's where it comes into that experience play there, I think, for Jack. He's got a lot of experience in these situations, especially with the Texas organization. Heck, he won a Calder Cup with them. So it's a tough call. It's a really, really tough call. It makes me, I think the biggest question is, what will Dan Watson be told to do, and how many other hands are in that decision making?
Yeah, because didn't last year Milwaukee, they sat Askarov the one series, didn't they? They
ended up sitting him after, I think it was a couple of bad games, but then he came back and was his usual self. So there's nothing wrong with going with a different goalie for game 2 and seeing what the looks are. I don't think that's a slight at Cossa. I think as a coach, you've got to make the decision that puts your team in the best position to win a game, especially a game as big as that one is now. You can't let Texas come into Grand Rapids and steal both games and then have to go back to Texas for 1 more, 2 more, or potentially 3 more games if the series goes 5 games. Because a reminder to everyone that the Central Division semifinals in the AHL, as well as the Central Division finals, are a best of 5 series. So it makes the decision making a lot tougher on the coaching staff there. And I think the questions that he'll have to answer for himself, it's going to be across the lineup, right? The lineup is probably the other storyline of this, with some of the players that were not playing on the ice tonight. You got to look like Antti Tuomisto was a healthy scratch tonight. Nikolai Kanishov, your newly acquired defenseman. He's a fast defenseman, a good puck moving defenseman. He was not in the lineup tonight. Hunter Johannes was not, but Dan Watson confirmed after the game that he is battling injury right now, and we still don't know for sure if Cross Hannes is ready to go or not. I didn't catch that part when he mentioned his name there in postgame. I'd have to look back at it. But there's some decisions to be made with this lineup when you go forward with this, and I don't know. I don't know if this lineup was the right choice when you boil it down. Hearing that Hunter was injured, I go, okay, that decision to not have him in makes more sense. That was one of the biggest, question marks going into tonight when I saw the lineup. I was like, where is he? Because that fourth line with him on it has been one of the best lines on this Grand Rapids Griffins team as of late. So yeah, coaching staff has a lot of questions to answer and digest. As Dan said in the postgame, he still hadn't fully digested everything from the game too when he was answering media questions. So the good news is he has 6 days to figure it out, and I'm confident that he'll hopefully make the right decision. But to circle it back to goaltending, I don't know who starts game 2. I think there's a lot of arguments to be made that Jack could get the nod.
I have a feeling that they're going to probably go Cossa. And if we lose, it's going to be Jack the last 3 games.
I could see that. I mean, with a best of 5, you've got to make those tough choices, and you got to make them quick. There's really no time to dwell on it. Luckily, there's 6 days between game 1 and game 2, but at the same time, it's going to be tough, man. I don't envy the coaching staff on this one. I think there's a lot of work to be done across the board, especially when you look at the offensive side. You look at their neutral zone performance tonight, and Coach Watson was asked about that post game. And it's kind of been a struggle all season, right? It's really hard for this Griffins team to establish the neutral zone and progress into the offensive zone. But tonight it was really bad, and he, fully puts it on the turnovers. Like, they start doing things where they're doing these stretch passes that are not characteristic of this team. And even he mentioned some of those passes that are going tape to tape, blowing through the other stick because it's coming through with so much force. We talked about it a couple times this year. Griffin's passing for some reason seems to be like it's shot out of a missile launcher every time it comes off a guy's stick. And I don't know if that's panic. I don't know if that's just trying, the quick puck movement that they want to play, but that's not really their style.
Yeah,
that's Texas's style.
I'm starting to feel like we don't have a style this year. Like, what we've been seeing is literally, I love the way Texas plays. They cycle the puck. They move off the puck. They're always they had so much pressure on us throughout the game. And even the first and second period, I was like, this is the way this is how the Red Wings used to play, back in the day. And I love that kind of style. I love the motion. I love the short passes, because that's what opens up spots. And I feel like this whole season is Grand Rapids they carry the puck in, they get that shot, and they're not getting that second or third chance, just like what you said in postgame. They're not getting those second or third opportunities, but it's been like that all season. And it's like playing Madden and just always going for the 50-yard throw every single time. Yeah, and it's sometimes it works, and it's worked some of the games throughout the season. I think it was working a lot in the beginning of the season, maybe, and that's not always going to work. And I think teams have figured that out with us. Is, hey, let them go down, let them get their one shot, let them shoot the 3-pointer and rebound, just box them out and get them back in. I know I just threw 2 different sports in here, but that's what it's been like this season. It's just, you watch Amadeus skated all the way up, or you watch lately, it's been ASP the last 2 games, skated all the way through to the neutral zone, and then it's shot on net, and then that's it. That's the play. That there's nothing else there. And last year we saw a lot of cycling, we saw a lot of board battles, we saw a lot of holding the puck in, getting that pressure. This year, nothing. There's none of that this year. And yeah, Marco did a lot of that last year, but you're just not seeing it from a lot of the guys now. And it drives me nuts. It absolutely drives me nuts.
It does drive you nuts. You've told me about that a few times. I want to dive more into that play and more of this game, obviously, but we got to hit a quick ad break because we still have to meet ad obligations when we do these shorter, quicker post-game reaction episodes. So we'll throw it to a quick ad break. When we come back, we'll talk more about this.
This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out. A game's left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
And welcome back. Okay, so one of the things you were talking about there, Nick, is an offensive player skating the puck in and maybe getting that shot off. There's something I noticed a lot tonight in the game that drove me insane, and it was guys getting the puck in the slot and immediately looking to their guys on the blue line for a pass instead of just turning and throwing the puck at the net. There was a lot of action around the Texas net caused by the Griffins, but they'd always look for that back pass to try to reset instead of just creating more chaos. Because when Texas was in disarray, that's where the opportunities came from. But every guy, including Ammo, would get the puck in the slot and immediately head up to the blue line to see where can I pass it to, instead of just no nonsense, no thinking, just turn and rip it. And I feel like they could have had at least 2 or 3 goals in that situation tonight alone with how much havoc was being caused in front of Remy Poirier. But they just were looking for the pass. It wasn't a shoot first mentality. It was pass first. And I don't think with Texas, that's the recipe for success at all. Because if you have the opportunity there, you've got to rip it.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that, because even ASP held it at one point in the game, and I was like, that's not normal for him. He's usually just firing that thing away. And I think a lot of that too is like, you don't have Tua in, and Tua always just fire first and think later kind of thing, which is why we love him. But that style's gonna work. Like, getting that shot out of the net, we're not winning those second battles, but now that you have guys there, we're set up to win those battles, right? And so that's exactly where you need them to start shooting that puck in more on those areas to cause the chaos. Because if they're going to think, they've already played us how many times this season? 8 times? They know we're looking back for the pass. So we need to have our head up, shoot first. What's going to happen? This is playoffs. We need gritty goals. And Shine almost had one in the first, I think it was the first or the second, where it took a crazy bounce and it almost went in. It was just like every time we had a great shot or a great chance, Dallas went down the other end and scored. It was just deflating.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we loved about the arrival of Anton Johansson and ASP. And like you mentioned, one of the things we love about Tuomisto is that no nonsense, no hesitation, get the puck at the blue line and throw it towards the net. Sometimes it might go a little wide, sometimes it might go a little high, but if it bounces off a body or two and lands at your feet, your initial reaction should be to, okay, throw it at the net. Maybe the goalie's not set. Maybe he's not ready. And they throw it at the net and you get good results. And we saw that with the first couple games from ASP. Gets the puck on his stick and rips it. Tonight, there seemed to be hesitation across the board on what to do with the puck when it was on your stick. In Texas, when you give them that opportunity, that split-second decision that you're trying to make, they're already on top of you trying to stifle whatever you're about to do. You can't hesitate. You can't second-guess what you're about to do against this Texas Stars team. And I think when the team goes back and looks at tape, that they'll probably identify that was a problem tonight. You can't do that. So that is one thing I hope to see a difference in Game 2 is just don't overthink it. Just shoot. What did Ovi tell Daniel Sprong when he was his teammate? Don't think, just shoot.
Just shoot. Just play hockey.
Just play hockey. And that's what we want to see from them in Game 2. There's going to be a lot of adjustments this team has to make. I'm kind of grateful that there are 6 days, because if this was look at the Game 3 to Game 4 scenario where it's back-to-back days, you have a performance like this in that situation, there's not a lot of time to make adjustments. And at that point, Texas is riding a momentum high that it's going to be hard to settle down. So I don't know. I hope that is one of the adjustments. Just stop overthinking it. Shoot it. There's so many talented shooters on this team. Just shoot it.
There is. And I think what you set me off because you're like, you got 6 days between this game and the next one to be able to adjust. I don't understand what was going on before the last 6 days. Like, we've played this team recently, within the last 2 weeks, and this was the same team, same style, didn't change anything. I don't think they gained any players because the guys who scored on us have been scored on us all season.
They got McKenzie back. McKenzie wasn't there in the last series because I believe he had just had a baby, is what I was told. So he was back tonight, and we talked in our playoff preview. There was certain guys you have to shut down: Kyle Capobianco, Matej Blumel, Justin Britzkovian. R2 Huru is the only one they shut down tonight. Britzkovian, yeah, Cole Lind is apparently really good against Grand Rapids suddenly too. Capobianco had the first goal. McKenzie had the second goal. Britzkovian had an assist on that second goal. Blumel had 2 assists tonight. Lind had a goal and an assist. Like, there's just too many guys that just do so well against Grand Rapids that they've got to shut down. And when we were looking in the stats log before the game, just realizing how top heavy the point production against Grand Rapids is for Texas, if you can shut those guys down, you're going to have a good time. They just failed to do that tonight. And, it was almost an expectation for me every time a Texas goal was announced. I'm like, I'm going to hear one of those names. And it happened on 3 of the 4 goals tonight. So it's just frustrating that that game plan wasn't set, or maybe it was, and they just outplayed them. Like you said, what happened during that week off to adjust and get ready for this game? Yes, Texas played their style of hockey, but at the same time, they found another gear of playoff intensity and speed that you would expect them to find, but they played their style to an even better clip than what we had seen from them before. Like that tic-tac-toe passing on that power play goal, even I had to admit when we posted it, it was beautiful. It was everything you would want in a power play goal, executed right there in front of us. And credit to them for playing their game and making Grand Rapids have to try to keep up with them and not allowing Grand Rapids to slow them down. And I think that's the compete level that you're kind of hoping to see out of game 2, is where you go back to that game plan of that last Friday game at home they played against them that we sure as heck shouldn't have won, but we won because we slowed them down, made them grind it out until the end, and got a win. And unfortunately, they're going to have to do that for at least 3 more games to get that win if they want to do it. So it's going to be tough. This series is going to be a battle for Grand Rapids, and we knew it would be. Texas is a very, very talented team, and you cannot, as Dan Watson said, you can't give them an inch because they're going to take 2 feet every single time you give them an inch on the ice. And that team, as he also said, does not need any extra opportunities on the offensive side of the puck. It's very clear.
They're very good.
So,
we know Jim Nill, president of operations over there in Dallas, like, he set this team up very well. The organization set up top to bottom very, very, very good. Like, I wish he was still here with us. Like, I wish this was the team we were watching on our end.
I mean, let's not discredit the Griffins too much, right? There is so much talent on this roster. And like I said earlier in the episode, it's a gut check for them and a reality check to what the playoffs are like in the American League. Like, you get through this, you're facing one of Milwaukee or Chicago, and that's another tough battle right ahead either way. So it's a gut check and a big reality check for some of these young kids who are going to have great long careers, if not in the AHL, in the NHL. Obviously, with some of the players on this Griffins team, we know that they have NHL careers ahead of them. And this is a big learning experience, but this is why you want your prospects playing big time games. You want them to learn from these, so this stuff doesn't happen when they're with the big club.
Sorry, did you say Milwaukee or Chicago?
Yeah, that would be who our opponents would be if we make it through this round.
Oh, I thought Rockford won.
Oh, shit. I did say that wrong. You're right.
Sorry.
Nope, you're good. That's what happens when you do these
this
late at night. Nope, Chicago didn't win that. They got swept. My bad, folks. You know what I meant, though, through all of that. A lot of series you're paying attention to when you're covering the ECHL and the AHL. There's a lot going on at once. But either way, even if you had to face Chicago, it was still a tough challenge based on our performance against them during the regular season. But yes, you face one of Rockford or Milwaukee in the next round, and that's going to be a battle either way. You get a team you played 12 freaking times, or you get the team that won the Central Division title for the regular season, who is a stacked good hockey team. This gut check tonight might be the best thing that could have happened to them, but they can't drop both at home. You know, we've talked about this. You get the first 2 games at home, and the next 3, if you needed all 3, are all in Texas. You can't drop both. They've got to come back guns blazing, ready to roll in game 2. And I have a feeling you're going to see a different look Griffins team in that game. There's no way they come back with the same game plan. No chance. And if they do, the post-game reaction episode will probably be a little more unhinged than this one could have been tonight if we didn't take a minute and breathe before we recorded it.
I don't know. I feel like they tried to play Texas's style, and Texas just was better. I mean, they beat them because the shots on net, even the shot spread is very similar to what Texas did against us the last time we played Texas, and they crushed us 5-2 that game, I believe.
Yeah, and let's also be real, is that the Griffins struggled in the dot tonight. You know, we brought up face-offs to Dan Watson after the game because I had said I have not seen so many people kicked out of the dot in a game than I have tonight. And, you know, he admitted there's guys who went 1 for 8, 3 for 6. You know, Texas won that face-off battle in key moments and key spots on the ice that the Griffins needed to win, and they needed to win them a little cleaner or at least have some better support from the guys around them. So I think the big thing for me when I think about game 2 is just take the experience from this, learn from it, and come out guns blazing. You can't try to out Texas by playing their style. You need to out Griffin Texas by playing a tough, gritty game that grinds them down, tires them out, slows them down, and frustrates them when you remove their play style from the game. If they do that, it might not look pretty on the ice, but the results will be a heck of a lot prettier than a 4-0 loss.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And the other thing for me, too, when you look at the opportunities tonight, the power play. We went 0 for 3 on the penalty kill side. They went 1 for 2, but 0 for 3 on the power play just allowed Texas to carry that momentum. And it's just like the regular season. We're talking about the power play in the playoffs, and we said it all regular season long. If you don't figure out the power play and try to capitalize on those opportunities, you're going to struggle in the postseason. And the perfect example of it here in game 1, going 0 for 3. If you convert on 1 or 2 of those, this game was a different game across the board.
We needed the momentum. It's the penalties. I mean, being on the power play scoring, that's going to bring momentum. It's going to switch it over. It's when you're getting kicked in 4-0, like 2-0, 3-0, like a power play goal can sway the momentum. It can sway the style, sway the energy of the team. It was it seemed pretty bare, empty in the van tonight. I know it's
5,200 on a Tuesday. Not bad, honestly. We expected like 3,000, and to see 5,200, I'll take that.
I know it's a Tuesday. Everybody in the state has been complaining that we need playoff hockey for how long? 9 years now, and we have playoff hockey, and we still couldn't come out to support our team tonight. Like, I think that filling the van on next Monday, Cinco de Mayo day. I know, like, you got to bring the energy, got to bring the team. Maybe they're going to do margaritas. I don't know. Out there last year we did the pig roast. That was fun. That was cool. You can't really do any food type with the stars. I don't know, but it's just
Margarita Monday at the van. I'm here for it.
Let's do that. Like, we got to bring the people out. People, you got to come out. You got to support the team like that. The guys need us. That energy they'll feed off of. And like, I don't know if I can bring it up now, but the wave went on for like 3 minutes in the third period. And I looked at you, Brandon, and I said, this is the longest. This was longer than the Griffins were out in the offensive zone tonight. Like,
that's what it felt like, man. It was an accurate statement when you said it, and I about fell out of my chair laughing because of how accurate it was. Yeah, I mean, it was a good wave. And you want the fans to bring the energy. Like, I get it. It's a Tuesday night. Tickets aren't cheap in the American League, unfortunately. But, you know, the other team in this organization with the Toledo Walleye sells out every frickin' night. They've done it for 70-something games straight. I know it's a tall ask with a 10,000-seat arena, But the fact of the matter is Monday night could be the last chance you could see these Griffins this season. And you hope that the fans show up. They're loud, they're fun, they're rowdy. Make it a tough environment. The boys feed off it. We've heard it all season how much they love when that place is rocking. And yes, in a 4-0 game, it is tough to get the fans into it. Credit, they tried their best tonight with the fans that we had there, but at half capacity, that's not going to cut it. We need the fans to show up. We'll give away tickets for game 2 as well, so keep an eye out on the social media pages for that. We gave away tickets tonight, and I'm glad those seats were able to be filled. And unfortunately, that fan didn't have a great experience with the game they got to watch, but I'm sure they had a good time either way. Games are fun at the Van no matter what, but at the same time, we want fans to show up. That was kind of the whole thing when we started the show, is we wanted to bring fan culture back to Grand Rapids, and we failed at doing it because we're doing so many other things. But at the same time, it's a tough ask. It is a tough ask to pack an arena on a Monday night, but I'm sick of a friend of the show who's a former Cleveland Monsters reporter talking about how packed that place gets, and that's bigger than this arena. Let's round it up Monday and really show up for the boys. Because again, like I said, you don't want the last memory of the season for them to be a half-empty arena on a Monday night. If that's the case, and God, do we hope it's not. So I think the best way to end the episode off is just kind of his final thoughts of what you expect to see from game 2 and how you want this series to shift when it goes to Texas here.
The easy answer is the last
Goals?
question. I'm going to try not to repeat what I said in the group chat during Yzerman's presser. But the easy answer here is the expectation is that we go to Texas with the series tied 1-1. That's the expectation. We've got to win this one. We're better on the road, but we can't go into Texas and reverse sweep them. Like, we cannot rely on
We
that.
could, but
I would not feel good about that. I mean, I feel good about it at the end, but we need to get the series split on Monday. Second thing, what was the first question?
Oh, the beauty of one take recordings here. Just like your expectation for game 2 with this team. I know we've said most of our expectations and what we need to change, but if you could wrap it up into a bow to what you expect to see this Griffins team bring for game 2, what would it be?
I want them coming out fast. I want them coming out heavy, like hits, just crushing. I feel like tonight there was a lot of targeting towards our newer players, ASP and MBN tonight.
As expected. But I just feel like there was more of a target on their backs than everybody else's. I want to see Shine, Watson, Dids just out there putting on a show, being physical. And I'm not saying you have to go out there and just start throwing haymakers. I'm just saying, like, play that physical, tough style that they're not going to want to play another 4 games against you, right? That's what the playoffs are here for. You grind your guys, you grind the other team down. You make sure that they don't want to come back out that period to play like the old Toledo Storm days. From what we've heard, is you hated playing against them. You didn't want to play against them. You was basically going to war. And I like that's what we need. That's what this team needs to do. They need to not turn over the puck as much as they have the last 3 to 4 months. They need to score on the power play. They need to get it together. You need to play effing hockey, right?
They need to play effing hockey. Yeah, I mean, the lineup is going to be something we'll talk about. We're going to record again before then, right?
Probably at this rate, who knows? I think we're maybe planning a little trip down to T-Town this weekend for game 2 of their second round, which that round will be probably 3-4 games in by the time this round, or we're even going to Texas. So we'll probably have some more Toledo content before Grand Rapids. Sorry to continue to reference how terrible this schedule is. But yeah, man, I couldn't have said it better. I want them to come out and fight like it's the last game. I want that game 7 mentality every game going forward, because in a best of 5, every game's going to feel like game 7 when you drop the first one. You go to Texas down 2-0. Yes, you can reverse sweep them, but that is such a difficult ask. Granted, Texas is not great in their barn either, just like we aren't. But at the same time, if Texas plays remotely to the play style they played tonight, and you get the goaltending that they got from Remy Poirier tonight in the next 4 or 5 games, whatever this series is going to go, it's going to be a tough ask. So they're going to have to come out and set the tone early, but also, like we said, play to their style. I know Nick said he wants them fast, but fast isn't really our style. You do want to play our version of fast, which is grind out the other team, slow them down, and make their night a living hell. And I think we've got the team to do it. And again, as we've said over and over in this episode, tonight was a gut check that you hope a lot of the guys received that gut check and know what to do going into game 2.
I think when I mean fast, I just want to see more compete. I want them faster on pucks, faster on bodies, faster into the zones, faster cleanup out of our zone. Like,
no, I know what you're saying exactly, and that's kind of like you expected that when you saw the addition of a guy like ASP. You know, he doesn't like to play with the puck in his end very often. He's really good at keeping it out of that end. But I think the lineup needs to change up a little bit, and I don't think the pairing that they had put in place tonight with him necessarily was the best option. But again, I anticipate some lineup changes for the next game, especially with 6 days in between. I hope I see Hunter Johannes return to the lineup. I think that's a big energy piece and physicality piece, and just a guy that'll piss off the other team and hopefully not take penalties in the process. You know, in the playoffs, it's usually the guy that starts it that doesn't get called. It's the retaliation, and you want to make Texas retaliate a little bit more here and make them kind of feed into our game. And I'm not asking them to go out there and just completely body guys, but at the same time, a few big hits and maybe a fight here or there wouldn't be the worst thing to see. And if you want the fans to get super into it, you might need to do that, especially if it's only another 5,000 seats filled in that game, which we hope it's not. I'd be happy with 7,500. I'd be thrilled with 7,500 on a Monday because I know it'll get loud in there. Heck, $2 beers and $2 hot dogs still in the playoffs. It's just like a Friday night. Treat your Monday like a Friday. Start the week off right. Get drunk, eat hot dogs, and watch playoff hockey. Sounds like a great frickin' time.
yeah,
But do it responsibly. Do it responsibly. Got to preface it with that. Our legal team advises. Anyways, yeah, right. I think that's a good spot to wrap up this episode. Like I said, we'll try to do these with every single game throughout the playoffs here. I think that back-to-back in Texas will be the toughest time to do it with the weekend there, but we're going to try. These aren't our normal episode format. I know you wanted more analysis and whatever. This is just thoughts off the top of the head, no preparation going into it, just our thoughts and feelings on what we watched. So we hope you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments what you think Grand Rapids needs to do before heading into game 2 as well. I'm curious to hear the fan perspective, even the unhinged fan perspective. We'll read them and laugh. It's usually what we do with those thoughts anyways. But with that, we'll wrap the episode up. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, we got to thank the sponsors of the show, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. When you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN. And when you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. And, of course, we got to thank our Patreon subscribers here who have supported us all season long and all show long. We appreciate you guys. Those subscribers currently are... Nick's muted. That's classic right there.
we've got Randy. We've got Michael Asante. We've got Tyler. I feel like I forgot Tyler last week.
You probably did.
We got Randy, Alan, Derek, Elaine, Griffin, John in Florida, Lori, Michael Asante, Regan, Tyler, and Claire.
Thank you all for the love and support over there. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, if you want to join those folks, head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast. Check out the tiers that we offer over there. They start as low as $1 a month. We know money is tight for everybody. We try to make it affordable and bring you guys extra bonus content, unedited episodes. Not that this episode won't be pretty much unedited. I'm going to probably let it roll because that's kind of what the whole point of these playoff episodes are. But every episode of the show goes there unedited with usual about 5 minutes of nonsense beforehand and usually a bunch of nonsense during the ad break as well. So if you want to hear more unhinged thoughts over there that don't make it in the show, like I said, patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast. With that, everyone, will wrap this one up. We will talk to y'all again soon. Don't know when the next episode will drop, but we know Toledo knows who their opponent is finally. So maybe we'll do a round 2 preview for them. Other than that, we have game next Monday with Griffins, game 2. You'll probably hear from us right after that one again. But until then, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter @HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey.